What's happening, everyone? Welcome. Today is Monday, July 18th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Good morning, Jenny. I hope you all had a fantastic Friday and a great weekend. Good morning, Stacy. I hope you did wonderful, enjoyable things. I hope you got outside. I hope you trained. I hope you spent time with friends. I hope you had all the things. Pardon me. I'm running a few minutes behind, not with the show, just kind of with my morning routine. So I'm a little bit out of sorts because I forgot to set an alarm clock. I don't know how, but I did, and woke up and I was like, oh. But you know what woke me up? The stupid bird. It's like having my own private rooster. Hey, you gotta get up. Good morning, Andy. I have not been able to coordinate getting to him with the deterrent. He doesn't peck on the window all day anymore. It's good. He, she, I don't know what gender the bird is. It's a bird. I had a great weekend. Spent time with some friends on Saturday, Friday. Had a pretty good mix of work and not work. Oh, pardon me. Yesterday, worked around the house in the yard all day. 10 to 5? No, 8 to 5? Yeah. So, a good 9 hours or so yesterday. Did a bunch of stuff, lots of little stuff. I got a list on a clipboard over there. Yeah, I typed it up because it was easier to rearrange. Because I was like, no, this has to be ahead of this, and trying to balance the weather and blocking things together for efficiency. Who else we got here? Good morning, Brian and John and Nathan, and all the rest of you, whether you are watching live or later, or in fact listening. Thank you for coming by. There won't be any audio feed of the show for a while because Frank's on. I want to call it vacation, not hiatus. Leave of absence. Frank is on leave. There we go. That's the right word. And that's one of the many things that he does is take care of the audio. And I'm not going to do it. Not because I can't, not because I don't want to, but because when I look at all that I do, not happening. I'm trying to do less, not more, less. Good morning, Daniel. Stacey says, and you didn't melt after all that outside yesterday. Well, so when I work outside, it's not straight. So a couple things. One, I wear this hat. This is an important element to working outside because, I don't have hair. So I wear a hat. I take frequent breaks. I stay very hydrated. I don't think I was hydrated enough. I've got a headache this morning. Kind of feels like a hangover sort of a deal. And I had a little bit to drink last night, but not enough that I should have a hangover. And so I think that's what's happening. I think my neck is super tight. And usually if the two of those come together, it's from dehydration. Frequent breaks, balancing working outside under the sun versus doing projects in one garage or the other. I even put the top back on the Jeep. I left the doors off, but I kept the top off. I put the top on because I ran out to get a salad for lunch, and it's like being on the surface of the sun. Oh, it's Daniel's first cup. Welcome, Daniel. I didn't realize you hadn't been here before. I misread that because I'm not awake yet, but I'm glad you're here. Yeah, what else did I do? Got some more plants ready for sale. Realized somebody had bought a pound of hazelnuts, so I bagged up more pounds of hazelnuts and labeled them and put them out in the farm stand. I'm calling it a farm stand. It's a small farm, but it's a farm. I grow a lot of food here. Made another raised bed. Finally the rest of the seedlings that I had started in there. They're not going to do much, but they will grow a bit. It'll turn into compost. Anyway, we don't need to go into my gardening theories. So I'm kind of excited because in less than a week, when I talk to you a week from today, I will be exhausted because I will have spent a long night of driving, but we'll have done a seminar in Philadelphia with Jenny. Jenny and I get to meet in person for the first time. I'm super excited. Get to meet her husband, Matt. Super excited. And I know that there are others coming. In fact, there may be several other people I've not met in person that are coming to this event, and I'm so excited. So, what's going on today? I don't know. Oh, it's Monday, so we have an episode of Martial Arts Radio. Let me check. Do I have anything of significance? I don't know what's going on with this. It says I have a meeting with Andrew from 8:30 to 9:30 and a meeting with Jenny from 9 to 9:30. And then I've got a client meeting at 9:30 and then a couple other meetings, whatever. So I don't know what's going on there. Jenny, we're talking at 9. Andrew, if you're watching, I don't know. You double booked me. Somebody double booked me. Maybe it wasn't Andrew. Jenny, did you double? I don't. It doesn't matter. I've got meetings in the morning and then work in the afternoon. Kind of a normal day. Stacy says, woohoo for Jenny's seminar. Jenny says, maybe you have some ideas to help me maximize the output of my balcony garden. Well, check it out. Brian says, made it to the track last night this season, and my youngest nephew of the two who raced won his feature race at Bear Ridge Saturday. Oh, awesome. He's 14. His first year racing the 4 and 6 cylinder, quote, Ridge Runners. And Jenny says, can't wait to meet. I'm looking forward to hosting the event. I hope we can pack the room with martial artists from all over. Me too. It's not too late. If you are anywhere near Philadelphia, reach out to Jenny. And if you don't know how to get to Jenny, reach out to me and I'll get you to her. Oh, it is Monday. Let's talk about Martial Arts Radio. What was the episode that went live today? I don't know. Let's find out. I don't remember. Why? Because we record these like 4 in a day. Oh, Morena. Okay. Today's episode, Professora Morena Lima, capoeira practitioner, judo and BJJ practitioner, referral in from a past guest that I and Andrew and so many others labeled a top 10 episode. One of the best episodes we've ever had. And keep in mind, we've had hundreds of episodes. So that says something. Oh, pardon me. Oh, God. This episode was really good. This is someone that I look forward to meeting. She talks about her journey, her husband's journey, and how it impacts her. Just there's a lot there, and just a very kind person who. I don't know that I want to say that. I'm trying not to give anything away. For whom martial arts may have been the thing that when you look at her story in hindsight, you might say, without martial arts, and I'm intentionally not finishing the sentence because I don't want to give anything away, but it's on YouTube, which means it's in your podcast feed, and it's awesome, and you should check it out. Jenny says, I didn't double book anything. Andrew, cough, cough. Oh, my back is so tight. If you see me like trying to roll my neck a whole bunch during this show, it's because I'm trying to create some space because my neck is so tight. And there's this weird, when I get certain kinds of headaches coupled with neck and back tension, if I can get my neck to release, to loosen up, it helps the headache go away much faster. I try not to take ibuprofen, etc., but I might be doing that because it's hard to focus when I can't, when my brain is in pain. Okay, hey, Josh. Josh says, hi, Whistle Kick fam. First time joining the show in a week after car camping with my family. Fun, good trip, exhausting with 2 young kids. No kidding. No kidding. Was messaging with my nephew last night. I don't think we're going to go camping. I think we're gonna do a few hikes. Because the idea of, so I love camping. I hate camping for one night because you get everything set up and then you take everything down. And it's a lot of prep and cleanup work for very little time. And it's one thing if you're going to stay at the campsite, if that's like the entire goal. Who wants to go hiking? So we're going to go hiking. So we might stage from here and or his house. His family lives 90 minutes away on the western side of Vermont. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. He's never gone on like a real hike. So I got to be gentle. He's 17. He's got all the energy, but he's 17. I'm just happy he wants to spend time with me. He's a good kid. Hey, Frank's here. Good morning, Frank. Coffee, actually, I was a little bit thin on coffee grounds, and I was afraid it wasn't going to taste right. But it tastes great. Tastes great. Less filling. Who's old enough to remember those commercials? Which one is that? Is that Miller Lite? I think it was Miller Lite was the taste great, less filling commercials. You can probably find those on YouTube. Those are funny. Daniel says, did you say on the western side of Ohio? No, western side of this state, Vermont. Jenny says, Matt and I agree on something. He's 17. He'll heal the next morning. He probably will. Probably will. He did martial arts for a bit, for like 6 months. I didn't even have to get involved on that. He wanted to do it. I didn't leave anything for us, so I'm going to very quickly, on the fly, come up with a topic for us. And I'm thinking about that as I'm saying this to buy myself a little bit of time. How about this? This is a real world scenario for a lot of people. Let's say you're preparing to test for an advanced martial arts rank. Not white belt, not blue belt. Maybe it's black belt. Maybe it's, just shy of black belt. Maybe it's a, beyond first degree belt. You are responsible for knowing more than your attendance at class maintains. How do you make sure that you are maintaining your knowledge, filling any gaps in your knowledge ahead of testing, and ideally even progressing on the things that you knew for your last testing? Because in this case, you're expected to know everything. They're gonna run you through potentially everything that you are supposed to know, everything you've been taught could come up in the testing. This is a real life scenario for a lot of people. Bonus points if you think efficiently about your use of time, because let's face it, we all work, we have other commitments, other interests. Excuse me. So what does that look like? Daniel's got a 3-year-old rolling on him. And he asks, have you ever gone camping where the entire goal is training martial arts in the wilderness? Let me think. No, but that sounds like a lot of fun. See, Daniel, this is your first day here. 3-week-old rolling on it. Oh, wow. That's wow. 3-week-old. That's awesome. Some of you have heard this, but not everyone. I want to buy a big chunk of land and turn it into a martial arts retreat. Over the weekend, I drove by with a friend of mine. I pointed out the parcel. I was like, there's the 92 acres that I want. I want this chunk of land because it's far enough out that nobody's going to bother me. I can do what I want. I'll do what I want. Good morning, Mark. And there'd be some fun in there. Just shy of 100 acres. There's enough going on there that, that square. If it was a square, it would be about almost a half mile square. Not quite. It's a little bit less than that. It's like, no, maybe it's a third, 18, 3. It's a third of a mile. That property, if it was a square, would be a third of a mile square. So that's a lot. So Stacy looks like coming out of her real life experience. I made a set of labels with all the terminology, pattern definitions, etc. Question on one side, answer on the other. That way I can study up my own or with others. And that's a great way to cover the written information, right? What's the meaning of your forms if your school does that? Names and anything you can break down to words. It's a great way to do that. And she adds color-coded the stop so that Yellow Belt Knowledge has yellow on top, green, blue. Oh, cool. Nice. See, if martial arts was standardized, which it's not, of course, but if it was, that's something people would buy. I'd be very thankful for. What would you guys do? So one of the things that I've done frequently is recruited help. I reach out, hey, can you go over my forums with me? And I try to stay with one person because everybody's got a little bit different way of saying it or doing it. And sometimes there are disagreements about what exactly something is. And the last thing I need, and the last thing I think anybody needs as you're coming down to the deadline, is different voices in your head saying different things about different movements, because you get confused, right? Frank, because he's the nicest guy on earth, says, in our last call, I informed Jeremy that when I come back from my leave of absence, I'm changing the title of the show to First Cup with Mr. Wonderful. That's what Frank calls me sometimes. Stacy's calling herself a nerd, and Jetty says, nothing wrong with that. Let that nerd flag fly. I agree. Be you. If you're a nerd, be a nerd. Attract other nerds to your nerdiness. If you're a martial artist, be a martial artist. Attract other martial artists to your martial arts artistness. Martial artsness. Martial artistry. There we go. That's the word. One of the reasons that we don't put martial arts on all the Whistlekick stuff. By the way, this is a one-of-one shirt. Didn't come out the way I wanted it. One of the reasons we don't put martial arts on most of the Whistlekick apparel these days is Well, there's two reasons. One, everybody doesn't need to know you're a martial artist, right? That's not always a good thing. And we do have some shirts if people want to wear them with that on it, because some people want to say, hey, this is a thing I do. But Whistle Kick as a brand is big enough now that people see it and they say, oh, you do martial arts. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's happened to me. I know it's happened to others. And I think that's awesome. One of my dreams is to hear a story about somebody waiting in an airport. Somebody's wearing something with Whistle Kick on it. Somebody else goes up to them and says, you're wearing Whistle Kick stuff. What do you train? And they have a conversation. And they're both there on a long layover and they go and they train in the corner. That is my dream. I cannot wait. Somebody at some point is going to tell me that this happens and it's going to make my life. I cannot wait for that to happen. I'm so pumped. Matt via Jenny, most recent testing, I recorded myself performing and reviewed that. I also make funny sounds when learning a new form to help me remember the moves. I would like to know more about that. So it sounds similar, probably. The Kempo school that I used to train at, they had the forms, but there was a verbal layer that could be put on or taken off that they referred to as singing the form. And you weren't really singing it, but you were walking through the form, doing the form, and there was a correct way of describing the movements. Look to your left, step out, low block, step punch, look to your right, turn, etc. And initially I found that really frustrating. I did not like it. But what I found, it didn't help me as much, because I'm good at learning forms. I've learned a lot of forms in a lot of different schools. My body's primed for that. But for a lot of people who were newer, they might remember the words, but not the moves. So they could say the words and then go, oh yeah, it's this move. And then you had other people more like myself who would remember the moves and then they could remember the words. And I liked that a lot. I don't know it's something I would implement in a school that I would operate, but I definitely saw the value in it. And it's something that I think some schools, if they saw the impact it had, would consider doing it. Jenny says, I usually make sure to practice basics regularly and randomly review old written tests for terminology and history. As I'm training, I find things that need some extra attention and practice them as they come up. So one of the things I'll say is that, as with anything, don't leave it for the last minute. Come up with a plan. If you're testing for an advanced rank, you know what you need to know. You may not know it, but you're aware of its existence and the fact that you do not know it. So coming up with a plan. On Mondays, I'm going to do this. On Tuesdays, right? And break it down into small chunks. One of the things that I find to be problematic for people in preparing for a test, it's the same way people find problems, with other stuff that they're doing. They try to do too much at once. Now, if you're a longtime viewer or listener to this show, you know how much I value small iterative progress, 1% better, etc. What if it was 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening? Tell me that you can't practice 2 or 3 techniques effectively in 5 minutes. You absolutely can. Maybe you do a form a couple times. And if you scatter those 5-minute blocks, it's a lot harder to say, I don't have time for this right now. Something came up. You can use it as a break or as a transition. There's a lot of ways you can use 5-minute blocks of time. And then, of course, you're probably going to need some bigger blocks of time, and maybe it's staying after class and maybe it's weekends. But I think the key is, where am I? Where am I trying to go? How much do I need to know and what's missing? And prioritizing the stuff that you struggle with the most, as we should be within martial arts. Jenny says, my third Dawn test is in December. I already know the material. Now I'm working on making it better. That's great. That's what should happen. I would imagine that's what most instructors would want. You know the stuff. Now make it third Dawn worthy. You've got time. That's great. Is it really almost 7? That's crazy. So I'm glad some of you chimed in. If you have other stuff to add to this, you can post it in the comments for the show once it ends. And I think I'm going to add something for us to think about for tomorrow. I like the way the show flows when we have a topic. It's nice. And Jenny says, Matt and I agreed on something else. If you didn't know, they don't always agree. They're married. They don't always agree. And that's become an amusing aspect of this show. Matt and I agreed on something else. We practice while waiting for things, such as when food is in the microwave or on the stove. Getting those little bits of time. And maybe in that case, if that's the way you're going to approach it, maybe the day has a focus. Today, during my waiting time, I'm going to work on this or that. There you go. All right. I'm going to go. And I'm glad you came by. Remember, if you want to support us, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. And you get access to all kinds of cool stuff. Go check it out. You don't have to commit to anything to look at what we offer on the Patreon. You've also got the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15% on anything in the store at whistlekick.com. And if you want the full list, if you are in fact Whistlekick family, you should be checking out the Whistlekick family page, whistlekick.com/family. You got to type it in. You can't. There's no button for it. And that'll give you the whole list of all the things you can do to support us in our mission to connect, educate, and entertain. We are live every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. And if you haven't joined the Facebook group, it's First Cup with Jeremy. I'm going to go post something in there right now for you to respond to. I want to thank you all for coming by. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Peace.